Hello everybody, my name is Daniel Richardson. This is Adrian Richardson. Adrian, say hi to everybody. Yeah? There you go. So look, I'm making this video because I love horror. I love movies. You couldn't already tell by all this back here. You see those back there? Yeah, you do. I told you to dress up for this. What are you doing just wearing a diaper? Yeah. So anyways, you know, I want my little buddy here, my son, to watch horror films with me. I want to be able to, you know, put a movie on, you know, when he's in his teenage years. We can sit there and watch, you know, Night of the Living Dead, Friday the 13th, Halloween, just the classics. Thing is, you have to kind of mold them that way. And I realized that with my little cousins prior to him, I kind of screwed the pooch. I tried to force horror movies on them at a young age, and all I ended up doing was repelling them from the genre I love so much. Little brief story here. My little cousin, he's 24, I believe, right now, but when he was like 10 years old, I used to babysit him all the time. He used to hang out in my house nonstop. And we always watched like SpongeBob and, you know, and we watched like Family Guy, you know, this cartoon stuff. But I was like, you know, at your age, buddy, I was watching horror films, so I tried to get him into it. And it turned out it was a complete disaster. I threw in what I thought was a very tame horror film, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. And I was just like, yeah, you know, I watched that when I was younger, loved it, and I pop it in. And he was very apprehensive, but to his credit, he wanted to watch it. He's like, all right, let's watch it. And so when I popped it in, I'm watching it thinking like, wow, this isn't that bad. However, as the, you're just excited, aren't you, buddy? As we start watching it, I realize how dark that movie is when you're a kid. And I keep glancing over at my little cousin, and his eyes are just getting wider and wider. And we made it all the way to the scene when Nancy's in school, and she falls asleep, and when she wakes up, or when she has a dream, when she wakes up, she's in the dream world, and she sees Tina wrapped in plastic. Nancy! And I look over at my cousin, you know, he's about to lose it. He's about to freak out. And so I was like, oh shit, like this is too much for him. And so I turned it off, and we watched some SpongeBob, and everything was okay. But like to this day, he's not a big horror movie guy. Like he just doesn't like it. He don't like anything about him hardly. And I blame myself. But I'm like, where did I go wrong? And I realized it's because I tried to throw him into the deep end. I realized that when I was younger, buddy, I used to watch these films. I watched them with my cousins, my friends. You know, we watched them during the daytime, you know, which I think I watched that movie with him during the daytime too, but still, it was a safe environment. Sorry, I didn't mean to rattle the camera there. I had to push it back, give a little more room here. It's the table. That's the table. So anyways, you know, I realized that, you know, I didn't go into the deep. I didn't start watching really scary stuff. It was always a safe environment. But then I also had this kind of the controlled scary movies, you know, the light ones I watched early on. You know, I grew up watching Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goosebumps, you know, and that kind of fed, you know, my love of horror, but like in a safe type thing. And so I want to do the same thing with him. So what this video is all about is I'm just really wanting to start molding him at a very young age. And not throw him too deep in, you know, not just throw out Texas Chainsaw Massacre or a Serbian film. What the fuck's wrong with me? I actually did show a younger cousin a Serbian film. That's another story for another time. But nonetheless, it's like, you know, can't do that. Cannot do that with him. I want to make sure he's going to actually love horror films. And so I decided, you know, clap for us? Yeah. We can't get him the wave yet, but we got him to clap. So, you like clapping? Huh? No? So anyways, I decided, you know, I've been curating some movies that I want him to kind of watch. He ain't watching nothing right now. He's too young, obviously. He's going to be a year old here in a few weeks. So, yeah, there's something to clap for. And so, but I feel like, you know, by the time he's like 2 or so, I want to start kind of giving him these films that he can watch that, you know, won't scare the bejesus out of him. That are not horror films, but definitely are on the fringe of horror, you know. They're family movies, but they deal with supernatural or monsters or whatever the case may be. Yeah. You just want to get those DVDs, don't you? Yeah, you do. Trying to grab Good Luck Chuck? That's your mom's DVD. Don't grab that. Grab something good. Anyways, so I just want to show you guys the first few I picked up you know, in this, you know, foundation I'm trying to build. And yeah, just want to hear you guys' feedback, you know. If you're going to do the same thing, maybe this is going to be a way to help you guys do the same thing. You know, if you have kids and you want them to be, you know, horror fans, but you don't want to scare them off. And so, yeah, these are a few films that I've curated, and let's get to them. And I'm back, and as you can see, my co-star has, well, we put him down for a nap, because he's a baby, and he did not want to sit still. He was getting a little fussy as I was grabbing the DVDs. Anyway, so what I have here is 12 DVDs. So for every, you know, as soon as he was born, I bought a DVD, and then the next month I bought another. So every month in his first, you know, year of life, I have bought him a DVD. And don't get me wrong, we bought him other ones, and I'm buying DVDs. People's just like, why are you buying Blu-rays or 4K? Go fuck yourself, because DVDs are cheap, and he's a baby, and he'll be all right. I just want him to see the movies. I don't care less what the quality of them are. It'd be fine. So anyways, so I picked out what I thought would be some really good choices for a child to watch to kind of dip their toes into that world of horror, especially in his very formative TV watching time. Now, keep in mind, we bought him other ones as well. He's got some SpongeBob, and I don't know what else Angel bought him, but, you know, I picked up a couple other things. So, I mean, you know, we're not just going to brainwash him with just horror, but these are just kind of the horror-esque kind of stuff that we're going to try to raise him on starting off. So the first one I picked up was The Addams Family. This was the movie that came out, no Blair, the movie that came out a couple years ago. It's the animated version. Of course, I want to let him watch the live-action one when he's a little bit older, because that's a classic and it's awesome. Hell, I'll probably let him watch the old black and white TV series. That's the other thing. I want to get my kid to watch, like, older stuff. I don't know how that will work, and I'm hoping it does, but I would love to have him watch a series too, because I think the series was fucking phenomenal. But, you know, I haven't seen this. A few of these are blind buys or first time watches for me as well, so yeah, I have no clue. So yeah, this is one of those that I haven't seen. I haven't watched yet, but I'm going to give it a shot. And once again, it's for a kid. Like, everybody who's complaining about this movie is like an adult, and it's like, well, this wasn't made for you. This is made for children. So anyways, The Addams Family, that's the, you know, that's one of them. And I'm not going in the order I picked them up. This is just alphabetical right here. So then now we got, now there's another one I haven't seen. It's The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, an old, like, 1940s Disney animated cartoon. I didn't even know this thing existed. I didn't even know what this thing was. However, it's a classic retelling of The Headless Horseman, and that's one of my favorite, and I never saw, like, any of the movies or read the book or anything like that, but I remember watching an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and they kind of covered it, and I feel like there was something else I watched that was before the Tim Burton movie came out in '99, there was something else I watched. It was like a TV show that had, you know, the Headless Horseman legend. So I was a big fan of the Headless Horseman thing. And then when the Tim Burton movie came out, I was like, holy crap, that's awesome. So when I found out they had an old cartoon, and once again, never seen it, don't know who the fuck Mr. Toad is, but yeah, I'm sure he'll enjoy it. At least I'm hoping. Okay, here's one I haven't seen, but again, it has that creepy gothic style of animation. Coraline, from the guy who directed Nightmare Before Christmas. Not Tim Burton. I love how many people think that Tim Burton directed Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, granted, it's his style, I get it, but it's like, no, not. So, anyways, yeah, I know nothing about this. I never watched this one either. There's a few of these I've seen. I thought I saw a little bit more. Anyways, yeah, but once again, it's that visual style that I kind of want to, you know, have him gravitate towards. So, let him like that gothic, German expressionistic look to him, you know. So here's one that's just, you know, ridiculous kid classic. First live action we got here on the list. This is Ernest Scared Stupid. This is a fun Halloween, you know, kid-friendly movie here. And yeah, I've only seen this thing a couple times. This ain't really one like I grew up on watching all the time. But when I did watch it as a kid, I remember liking it. I remember digging it. And I believe it's like the only Ernest movie that has like a supernatural element to it. Like every one of them is like normal, and then this one's just like, oh yeah, there's trolls in the trees or something. So yeah. So here's another one, just another kid classic from my childhood. That this is actually one that I watch all the time. Like we try to watch this like once a year easily. Just a freaking classic. I'm talking about Hocus Pocus. This is going to introduce him to witches and the like, and it's just a great movie. Anybody who doesn't like this literally is just a hipster poser, because they're just like, I'm too cool for that. Go fuck yourself. It's a good movie. Good movie. All right. Another one just from my childhood that I'm a big fan of. Now, this ain't really horror or horror related. This is definitely more on the fantasy cusp of things. But I feel like the look of this film, it has goblins, it has weird creatures. There's an evil goblin king. A lot of danger towards a baby. And an awesome song that goes along with the little baby. And I'm talking about The Labyrinth. Another one that I absolutely love this movie. Can't go wrong with it. So yeah. Want him to check that out. Here's a more recent one. This came out from the early 2000s. Actually, I have another cousin that I took to go see this movie. No intention. I mean, it's a cartoon. I didn't think it'd scare her, but she freaked out, and not because of the titular monster in this thing. We're talking about the old guy who lives in the house. There's a scene where he's revealed for the first time, and it freaked her out for some reason. I'm talking about Monster House. Just another fun little kids movie, and again, it plays out like a horror film, but it's also, for kids. It's a family film. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon in the sense of for kids. Much like this next one. This is a Pixar classic that involves monsters, but the lighter side. We see that monsters aren't bad people at all. They're funny, quirky, weird. Got their own shit going on, and talking about Monsters, Inc. So there's this one right here, another one. And like I said, I'm not huge on Pixar. There's a handful I like, and this happens to be one of them. It's good stuff right there. So this next one is not really one I'm huge on. But once again, I want him to form his own taste, his own, preferences here. This kind of falls in line with Labyrinth, though. This is more fantasy than anything else. But again, it deals with real peril, dark. It's magical, but it's got a little bit of darkness to it as well. And I'm talking about The Never-Ending Story. Boom. Again, I'm not huge. I mean, with the exception of, I guess, Labyrinth, I'm not huge on fantasy. I don't care. Lord of the Rings was good, obviously. Although I never saw the Hobbit trilogy. Don't try. Fuck off. I'm not watching it. The first trilogy is good enough. That's all I need. I was just never big on sorcery and swords and sandals, unless it was this horror. I love witchcraft and black magic and voodoo and shit like that. Wizards. Pew, pew, pew. It's a step above Star Wars going pew pew, pow pow, pew pew. Same fucking thing to me. It's just But like I said, this is a classic among children, and again, I feel like it's kind of on that fringe of it's not horror, but I feel like people who are horror fans probably like this too. So again, just trying to tap into that. We mentioned Coraline earlier. So what collection would not be complete without A Nightmare Before Christmas? Obvious reasons here. Funny enough, I've only seen this thing once. This is another one of those that came from my childhood that is considered a classic. And I've only watched it once, and I thought it was okay. When I was a kid, I hated musicals. With the exception of Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's the only musical as a kid I watched that I loved. Well, that and Cry Baby. I loved both of them as a kid. But anything else, like cartoons, even like Lion King. I love The Lion King, but when the music would come on as a kid, I just tune out. I don't give a shit. Aladdin, same thing. Love Aladdin. Great movie. Music comes on, I just tune out. I didn't care as a kid. As an adult, I've gotten better. I don't tune out as much. But this falls into that category. I just remember, we watched it at school. And so we watched it at school. It wasn't like we watched it in one sitting. It was one of those, 3 or 4 afternoons. You break it up into little, half-hour segments or whatever, 20-minute segments. And we watched it over the course, a week or whatever. And like I said, I remember bits and pieces of this. I don't know much of it. And just kind of forgot about it. And then when I became, when I was, in my early 20s, everybody was like, oh, yeah, childhood classic. And I'm like, really? Is it? And it turns out, yeah, it is, because everybody else is talking about it. Everybody in the world loves this movie. I guess I'm the only asshole who doesn't. So, I'm going to give Adrian the choice to watch this, and he may like it, he may not, but at least he'll have the option. So it's right there. And again, it's kid-friendly, so. And these last two go together, so I'm going to kind of break the alphabetical. Well, I mean, still alphabetical, I guess, but just reverse them. I got The Wizard of Oz and Return to Oz. It's funny because the two kids movies that from their time that are said to induce the most nightmares amongst kids were Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original with Gene Wilder, and that was because of the crazy insane boat ride. But they always talk about how that was the one, you didn't see it coming. You're watching this whimsical, hey, it's Charlie going to the Chocolate Factory, and then this fucking boat ride comes out of nowhere, and people are like, holy shit. And I'm talking about kids. I mean, I don't know, maybe some adults do, who knows. So that, traumatized. But then with kids from the 30s and up, I mean, even kids who watch it now, Wizard of Oz. You hear a lot of people, in those early days talk about how they were scared of the witch, flying monkeys, fucking scarecrow on fire. I mean, again, it's fantasy, it's whimsical, it's a musical, but still it has an element of danger and a bit of darkness. With that said, I have never seen Return to Oz, and I hear this is not much of a it's a kids movie. It has Disney points on the back of it. It's a kids movie. I hear it's pretty dark. It's darker than I expected, but it's got my girl from the craft, Nancy, in it. I can never pronounce her name. Feruza Balk, is that how you say it? Doesn't matter. It has Nancy in it, and I'll be all about that. But yeah, I've never seen it. Oh, it's got Piper Laurie too. Well, look at that. It's got Carrie's mom. It has Nancy and Carrie's mom in it. Come on, how can you go wrong? But either way, yes. Return to Oz, Wizard of Oz. Good double feature right there. And again, it's going to expand on that witchcraft stuff just a little bit more. Put them back in order. I don't know if he's going to keep his DVDs in alphabetical order. I keep mine in alphabetical order. Well, I keep mine according to genre, and then within the genres is alphabetical order. And the genres are in alphabetical order. I'm sure he'll just strewn his shit around. Beat him. Not joking. Hard. Lay it into him, too. I may just beat him on the days he doesn't, mess about, just so he knows, like, hey, that beating is to make sure you remember to keep your DVDs in order. So, good parenting. No, so anyways, so these are the 12 DVDs that I picked up in his first year. And once again, he has some other stuff. I think she even bought him the Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, whatever, Return to Zombie Island. Both of them, like a 2-pack of those. And I hear that's like another one of those like classic Scooby-Doo movies that I just never watched. I don't know why. It may have came out a little bit after my time, actually. That may have came out like whenever I was like in high school or something like that. So that can be a little forgiven, I guess. But anyway, so this is the path I'm starting my son out on right here. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts. Or you know what, if you're like me and you're a horror fan, you want to get your kids into horror, I would say these is your starter pack right here, Again, nothing too terrifying, nothing too hard, nothing too, brutal, nothing like that. It's all pretty safe, pretty fun, and hopefully it won't terrify the child. He may get nightmares from Wizard of Oz. It's been proven. Clinically proven. So, anyways, guys, that's all I got. Thank you for joining me. And you know what? It'll be probably another year before I bust out another video to show the progression in the next, little stack of DVDs I buy him. And hopefully by then he'll start watching some of these. I don't know, only being, he's going to be 1 this month. He'll be 2 next time I do another one of these videos or closer to it. I don't know how well he'll be able to, tell me how much he likes these movies, but, have to wait and see. So guys, that's all I got. Thank you for joining me, and until next time.